Avengers Endgame 2019. In the opening, Clint Barton is showing his girl arrow-based weaponry on his disconnected homestead, while his significant other readies an outing lunch for them. Abruptly, Clint's little girl disappears and the remainder of Clint's family deteriorates, alongside half of all life across the universe, the aftereffect of Thanos snapping his fingers in the wake of securing every one of the 6 Infinity Stones. Cloud and Tony Stark are abandoned in space following their loss by Thanos on Titan, yet are gotten back to Earth via Carol Danvers and rejoined with Natasha Romanoff, Bruce Banner, Steve Rogers, Rocket, Thor, and James Rhodes. The group figures out how to take the Infinity Stones back from Thanos and use them to switch his activities, however learn after finding him that he had utilized the stones a second opportunity to obliterate them, forestalling their further use. He lets the leftover Avengers know that he did as such to try not to involve the stones for additional detestable purposes. Infuriated, Thor guillotines Thanos, saying it's what he ought to have done in Wakanda. After 5 years, Scott Lang escapes from the quantum domain to find that his girl, Cassie, is presently a young person and that Hope Van Dyne, alongside half of the populace, has vanished in the snap. Rogers has been driving sorrow directing meetings for survivors, actually battling with the impacts of the snap, while Romanoff is eagerly overseeing both Earth and the remainder of the universe with the assistance of Rhodes, Danvers, Okoye, Rocket, and Nebula. Lang goes to Romanoff and Rogers and clarifies that while 5 years had passed for them, just 5 hours had passed for him in the quantum domain, and that time extends much contrastingly there. The three go to Stark, who is presently bringing up a youngster with Pepper Potts, and clarify their hypothesis that the quantum domain can be utilized to travel once again into the past and take the Infinity Stones before Thanos can gather them. Unmistakable at first, oddballs their proposition with worry about taking a chance with his family and the harmony he has found. However, subsequent to reflecting upon the deficiency of Peter Parker, chooses to test hypothetical models that would work with Lang's quantum burrow, in the long run tracking down one that works. With Stark now ready, the excess Avengers set off to reassemble their group. Bruce Banner has now embraced the Hulk as a piece of him, and has merged his own awareness and the Hulks together into one. Romanoff, subsequent to hearing reports from Rhodes of a professional killer that works with comparative techniques to Barton, passes on to track down him. Barton, consumed with misery after the deficiency of his family, has been working under the mantle, Ronin, while ruthlessly slaughtering criminal cartels and posses all over the planet to attempt to work on the world that is still left. Natasha tracks down him in Japan, and after some persuading, he consents to rejoin the group to attempt to bring his family back. Standard and Rocket go to the unassuming community of New Asgard, where Valkyrie and the last overcomers of Asgard have settled. They there observe Thor, who has become overpowered by responsibility over neglecting to kill Thanos in Wakanda. Thor has become overweight, his hair and facial hair are congested, and he invests his free energy eating low-quality food, becoming inebriated, and playing Fortnite with his companions Korg and Meek. Thor hesitantly consents to get back to the Avengers, after some persuading from Rocket and Banner. In the wake of testing the quantum time machine on Barton, who affirms that it works, the Avengers are brought together with an arrangement. Banner, Rogers, Lang, and Stark leave to recover the time, mind, and space stones during the Clash of New York in 2012. Standard goes to the Sanctum Sanctorum, where he is educated by the Ancient One that, requiring some investment stone from her timetable, would forestall Stephen Strange's future endeavors to prevent Caecilius from obliterating the laws of nature. Notwithstanding, when Banner tells her that Strange surrendered the Time Stone energetically to Thanos, she permits Banner to make them infer Strange had planned for a particular grouping of occasions to happen for Thanos to be crushed. pennant likewise guarantees the stone's revisitation of their legitimate courses of events to forestall any evil impacts. Lang and Stark endeavor to take the Space Stone after the Avengers seize it from Loki. Lang gives Stark's previous self a gentle heart failure by pulling a circuit in his counterfeit heart, while Stark takes the attaché lodging the Tesseract when no one is looking. Their arrangement is foiled when Stark drops the folder case after he is unintentionally hit by the Hulk. Loki then, at that point, takes the Space Stone and uses it to get away from authority. Rogers prevails with regards to taking the Mind Stone from secret Hydra specialists, yet finds his previous self, who botches him for a hidden Loki. Subsequent to overcoming past Steve, Rogers gets back together with Stark and Lang, who currently should sort out one more method for getting the Space Stone without running out of the restricted stock of Pym particles that permit them to go through the quantum domain. Lang gets back to the present with the Mind Stone while Rogers and Stark devise an arrangement to take the Space Stone from a U.S. Armed Force establishment during the 1970s, while additionally taking further vials of Pym particles to make the excursion back home. While there, Rogers cites Peggy Carter and Stark has a significant discussion with his dad Howard. Rocket and Thor travel to Asgard to recover the Reality Stone before Malekith utilizes it against the Nine Realms. While in Asgard, Thor is reminded that his mom, Frigga, would pass on soon and gets an opportunity experience with her while Rocket takes the Ether, the disintegrated adaptation of the Reality Stone, from Jane Foster. The two revisitation of Earth after Frigga guides Thor and he recovers his sledge Mjolnir, thrilled to find that he is as yet deserving of it. Cloud and Rhodes travel to Morag to take the Power Stone before Peter Quill does. As Rhodes gets back to the present with the Power Stone, Nebula glitches and stays on Morag. With two consciousnesses working on Nebula's frameworks, Thanos and Ebony Maw find the presence of future Nebula and go to seize her. Cloud acknowledges what has occurred and attempts to caution the others, however is past the point of no return. Thanos examines her recollections and finds the Avengers arrangement, and sends the more faithful past Nebula back to the present as a covert agent. Barton and Romanoff travel to Vormir to recover the Soul Stone, however are clashed when Red Skull, manager of the stone, illuminates them that it must be recovered by forfeiting somebody they love. The two battle about which will make the penance, with Romanoff at last accepting any consequence, while a distressed Barton gets back to Earth with the Soul Stone. After everybody has gotten back to the present on Earth, Stark, Rocket, and Banner set off to make a glove to use the stones, one developed from the equivalent nanotech of Stark's most recent Iron Man suit. Flag volunteers himself to use the glove and bring back everybody that vanished in Thanos' snap, thinking that he can endure both the gamma radiation and the monstrous aggravation and injury welcomed on by utilizing the stones. He succeeds, however they are very quickly assaulted by Thanos, who has been brought to Earth by the fraud Nebula, annihilating the quantum entrance all the while. Thanos decreases the Avengers' central command to rubble, separating the group and making the glove fall into Barton's security. The previous Nebula is killed by her future self as she endeavors to take the Infinity Stones from Barton, while Rogers, Thor, and Stark face Thanos, who concludes he will rather utilize the Infinity Stones to annihilate the universe and make one in his vision. The three battle Thanos one-on-one, with Rogers affirming Thor's hypothesis that he genuinely deserve employing Mjolnir, however are each dominated by Thanos. Not long after Thanos' military terrains on Earth, T'Challa shows up before Rogers, alongside the Avengers as a whole and different partners restored by Banner, prior to sending off an attack on Thanos and his military. After an extensive fight during which Stark is brought together with Parker and Quill is brought together with past Gamora, Thanos grapples with various Avengers for the Infinity Stones. At the point when he's limited by Wanda Maximoff's energy, Thanos orders Glaive to have his boat fire numerous energy impacts, greater than almost destroying the Avengers' endeavors. Skipper Marvel returns, taking out Thanos' boat while battling for control of the glove. Utilizing the nanotech from the new glove, Stark moves the Infinity Stones from Thanos' hand to his own, and utilizes them to transform Thanos and his whole armed force into debris, victoriously expressing, "I'm Iron Man." Parker and Potts console Stark as he kicks the bucket from openness to the stone's radiation. Following the fight, the Avengers hold a memorial service for Stark, whose Mark I Bend reactor is drifted out on the lake close to his home. Barton and Wanda Maximoff take comfort in the way that Romanoff and Vision, who didn't return in the snap, would be pleased with their triumph over Thanos. Thor makes Valkyrie the Queen of Asgard and joins the Guardians of the Galaxy to track down his actual reason, liberated from the weight of sovereignty and administration without precedent for his life. Barton gets back to his family, and Parker gets back to school, where he is brought together with his dearest companion Ned. In the interim, Rogers is entrusted to go into the past to return the stones and Thor's sledge to their unique courses of events. However, chooses not to get back to the present and to rather carry on with the remainder of his life in the past with Carter. He returns before Sam Wilson and Bucky Barnes as an elderly person, and passes his safeguard and the mantle of Captain America on to Wilson. A short flashback shows Rogers and Carter in a customary-looking house, at long last sharing the dance they never got to have in their family room. Really blissful finally.